The big question on January 26 was how much the last week of publicity will impact the gap, with the WWF having its most outside media exposure in years after the Tyson angle. The intrigue was to see how much it will be able to cut into WCW's speaking momentum. Another factor was starting on this night, Raw will not have an unopposed second hour to boost its audience, as WCW permanently moved to its now regular 3-hour format from 8 to 11. WCW built the unopposed hour, getting various reactions from the roster and office to the finish of the Nash-Giant match 2 days ago as sold out, with Giant taking a scary bump from Nash's powerbomb that could have ended with a serious injury. With that as a big talking point, the idea was to build on the intrigue and turn it into an angle, with the announcers hyping the footage of the move along with Nash's response and follow-up on Paul White's condition. J.J. Dillon came out saying that adjustments needs to be made in banning the powerbomb, saying that any wrestler who uses it in their matches from now on, including Nash, will be disqualified, fined or terminated. Nash and Bischoff came out a few minutes before the top of the hour, with Eric saying that Nash is being singled out by WCW management. Nash then got sarcastically emotional about what happened Saturday, saying that everybody is saying that what he did was wrong but they don't know the full story, saying that Giant couldn't go anymore, so since he's a good guy, he gave him some coffee to wake him up. When that didn't work, he had to make a decision, referring to the old Yeller scene, so he dropped him on his neck to put him out of his misery, declaring that from now on he wants to be called Big Sexy the Giant Killer. A week after drawing its highest rating in the Monday Night Tour era, Raw opened at near-record levels with a 3.9 rating for the Nation vs. Shamrock match, showing increased interest and curiosity from the last week, with the challenge for the company to maintain it, knowing that the official WrestleMania build is weeks away. The company hyped 3 segments for the night to follow up on last week, a message from Tyson's promoter DonKing from Florida, along with the responses from Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels, including showing the media reaction to the Austin-Tyson angle with headlines and reports. The 3.9 opening segment rating will also be Raw's peak rating for the night overall, and the closest it came in the head-to-head competition. WCW's big segment of the night was next as mid-match Randy Savage arrived in a rental car outside the building, with the announcers mentioning that Savage wasn't in the nWo limousine that arrived earlier to build it up. Savage ran straight to the ring, taking out Juventud and Spicolli before calling out Lex Luger and the entire nWo to the ring, saying that the only reason Luger won as sold out was the outside interference and telling them to stay out of his business. Moments later, the entire nWo was walking to the ring for the confrontation, with the intrigue of the problems in the group catching fire with big numbers on a weekly basis. Eric tried to calm Savage down and keep the family together as Savage cut a promo on every member, blaming them for the match against Luger. Hogan took the microphone saying sometimes they have difference of opinions but they're all in the game together, with Hogan then saying that when him and Hall interfered it didn't look like Savage was doing so well, with them trying to help him because they care about him, but if he wants it that way he's on his own. Savage responded that that's the way he wants it and he had things under control, before telling Hogan that he looked much better when he had the gold around his waist, setting Hogan off saying that everybody knows he should have the belt and will take it back at Super Brawl, with both agreeing that from now they will take care of their business alone. ending a great segment that continued the build-up to big money matches inside the nWo, with the segment picking up big with over 1.3 million viewers to a record-setting 5.3 rating, making it the highest-rated segment in Monday Night Wars history. DX did an interview backstage with Hunter hyping his match against Owen for later, before Shawn Michaels' response to the Austin-Tyson confrontation last week. Shawn said that after what happened he's willing to step aside and delay his title defense, letting Austin and Tyson fight at WrestleMania. Hunter then said that he knows Shawn is a modest and humble guy, but it's the biggest show of the year and people want to see him there, ending up with Michaels revealing a referee shirt and offering to be the special ref in the match. Next on WCW was Dallas Page against Wrath, going against Vader versus a Goldust Vader imposter, with Vader going over until Kane showed up post-match. Vader and Kane brawled until Vader gave him a tombstone, with Kane getting up seconds later giving Vader one himself and almost dropping him in a dangerous position, coming a day after the Nash Giant spot, leading to Vader being taken off the upcoming house shows to avoid further injury and setting up their No Way Out match. Bret Hart came out to open the now regular third hour, 2 days after going over Ric Flair in their first ever pay-per-view match. Bret said that he respects Flair and he's still the man, before turning to the upcoming WCW title match between Sting and Hogan at Super Brawl. Hart said that he came to the company with one goal, and that's to be WCW champion, challenging the winner of the Hogan-Sting match for a title match next. Raw jumped around 700,000 viewers for its second highest rated quarter of the night for the Foley and Funk against Outlaws tag match, ending in a DQ with the two groups continuing to build up to the hardcore spots in their matches. With Nitro now 3 hours from 8 to 11, the company had to start condition viewers that big angles and matches will happen in the third hour until they get into the viewing habit, with the show's replay, which was usually starting right after the live broadcast and drawing huge numbers of over 2 rating for a replayed show at midnight, pushed back to 1 a.m. Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie were doing an interview backstage, with them also doing an interview earlier in the day as Foley and Funk talking about their characters as a different person, until DX showed up to distract them with the Outlaws attacking from behind. Building up the pay-per-view main event of DX with the Outlaws against Austin, Owen, Foley, and Funk. Davey Boy Smith made his in-ring return after leaving the WWF following Montreal and signing with WCW, going over Mongo. Nash and Traylor ended up in seconds after Nash repeated the finishing sequence against Giant from Sold Out, throwing coffee and giving Traylor the now banned Jacknife powerbomb, before being arrested right after. After advertising the Owen Hart vs Triple H title match all show, the company went with the expected bait and switch and instead had Owen going over a Goldust Triple H imposter. With Slaughter coming out post-match saying that since it was scheduled to be a European title match, Owen wins the belt anyway, in another one of countless instances where the DX members got out of actually doing a job in the ring to drop a title. Hall vs Luger ended up with Savage running and attacking Luger before Sting came down from the ceiling to make the save. including a great spot of Savage about to give Luger the elbow, with Sting landing exactly on the spot to make it the first ever drop kick from the roof of the building. Ending up with Sting putting Savage in the Scorpion and Hogan and Hall looking on to close the show. Raw saved its two big segments to the final quarter with DonKing saying that despite the athletic commission, him and Vince McMahon are going to find a way to make it happen, and Tyson and Austin will be at WrestleMania on March 29, promoting the pay-per-view but still not revealing Tyson's role. Austin came out saying that he will beat Tyson in either one of their backyard, telling him that he will give him his address and phone number and let him know what's happening, saying that he will knock his gold tooth out and make himself a necklace. Ending the promo saying that on February 15 he will be in Houston, Texas, and if Tyson shows up he will knock him out. With the shows now fully going head-to-head and despite the exposure for the other side, when numbers came out it was WCW who jumped ahead even further, drawing an all-time opposed 4.7 rating with the momentum looking to grow by the week. Raw dropped half a point from last week's peak to a 3.5 rating, still above average as the shows were head-to-head for the entire 2 hours, but signaling to the company that it will take much more than the Angle himself to close the gap with WCW peaking business and catching even more fire at the same time.